Good afternoon and welcome to From the DMV Live with Meka. I'm your host, Meka. This week is a very special show to me. This is the anniversary this Saturday of the passing of my son, Jeremiah. Shout out to Jay. And it's also the reason I wrote my book and started my show for that matter. My book, Thank God I Didn't Kill Myself, a guide from self-care to self-love, and the premise of this show for the most part, which is that we all experience things in life no matter who we are. There are going to be ups, there are going to be downs, ebbs and flows. But the fact of the matter is, no matter who you are, someone else has experienced the same thing you have. And not only did they survive it, but they thrived afterwards. And so if they can, so can you. Because the fact of the matter is you are fearfully and wonderfully made, and they are no better than you, right? So my guest today is very, very special. I'm very honored to have him in studio with me. He was actually coming through for me last minute anyway because I had a cancellation previously. But then we, had to schedule it, but it worked out perfectly, which is so funny because my guest believes that anybody that you're around, there's a purpose, there's a reason. And so, excuse me, sorry. So with that being said, anybody we cross paths with in our lives, has a reason, and I'm so glad that he crossed my path. Now, this person was born and raised in the DMV, which is automatically a shout out, of course. The founder of Vital Alternatives for Healthy Minds program, which is VAMP, which of course we're all about healthy minds and healthy mental health awareness. But no matter who you are and no matter how hard you're striving for mental health awareness, you're still going to have your mental health intact. And this guest also is an actor. This guest is a reality personality by choice or by nature or happenstance. This person is a mentor, a proud father, a widower of the beautiful Traci Braxton, Mr. Kevin Surratt Sr. Welcome to the show, Kevin.
Thank you.
Surratt, rather.
Thank you for having me. It's a pleasure, and I appreciate that acknowledgement.
I really appreciate you coming through, definitely. So my show is all about, like I said, I have conversations with inspiring people on why existing is not enough. Okay. And you are definitely an inspiration, whether you know it or not. Oftentimes I tell people the sun shines because it's the sun. It doesn't realize that it's shining on people and making things grow or warming your skin. It's not thinking about you. So right now you're experiencing your life and you experience your life day to day, but little do you realize how many people are watching you and gaining inspiration from you,
Appreciate that.
So I want to start off with a game because, of course, things can be kind of heavy, but I do have a few games here.
Okay.
You can bear with me. They're just a little fun. It's nothing, serious. So don't stress yourself out or anything like some people do.
I like games.
Okay, good. Perfect. So our first game is going to be When I Visit the DMV.
Welcome to DC.
So, shout out to my graphics maker, me. I hope you all like it. So my first question is, and I think this might be really close to home for you. If I get to this part of Maryland, one thing I can guarantee, I am no longer in the DMV.
Oh, PG down.
No, you're no longer in the DMV. You're from the DMV.
Okay.
So when somebody says, where are you from? And you say, I'm from the DMV, and they say this answer, it's completely wrong.
Oh, Mo County.
No, really?
Not Mo County? I can't
Guess
get
what
Mo-
it is? And why I thought you'd get it. Baltimore. Everybody thinks we're from Baltimore.
Oh my God.
Don't they? When you go somewhere and they say, where are you from? You say Maryland. They say, oh, from Baltimore.
And you know what? We get that so much because the show was kind of like tailored to fit in the Baltimore area, and really we never were from the Baltimore area.
I think that's so funny. I think it's such a big misconception. Yeah. But the biggest part is how much the DMV loves the DMV. So we are serious about, Baltimore loves Baltimore too.
Absolutely.
And they are serious about not being the DMV just as much as we're like, no, we are the DMV.
But that's their own, they definitely their own entity.
Their own entity.
Yeah,
Maryland is a big place.
Yeah, no doubt. That's a good one.
Yeah.
Keep that in mind. Thank
My
you.
last person I asked that said Southern Maryland, which is also a good answer, right? but definitely Baltimore.
Yeah, no doubt, no connection.
Okay, this is a DC related question. Now,
Gotta
if you
get
go
this
to
right.
this boat, if you go to this boat, right, you won't go sailing, but they'll sell you some socks, some shoes, even some food.
Oh, definitely shrimp boat.
That's right. Ding, ding,
Definitely
ding, ding,
shrimp
ding,
boat.
ding.
Definitely.
Yes. Okay. One more question. So I want to have a seat, right? I came to the DMV. I'm looking for chairs. What's the greatest chair you can show me in the DMV?
You gotta go to South Beach and sit in the big chair.
That's right. Yay!
You gotta do that.
Excellent. Okay, so you did great on this game. 2 out of 3, I'm saying a winner, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Winner.
I take that. It's 85% or something like that.
I think it might even be more than. Oh, it's more than that. It's more than 75.
Okay,
yeah.
I take it.
Yeah.
I take it.
So, where are you from?
So the funny part, I always tell people the DMV. I told people the DMV even before we were saying DMV.
Right.
When the subway hit, I was like, okay, I can travel throughout. So I was born in Alexandria, Virginia, at Fort Belvoir Hospital. Immediately moved to Southeast. From Southeast, I moved to PG County, also known as Palmer Park, Landover area. So I moved around the DMV for real.
But that's the literal DMV.
Absolutely. Then I settled, in the Blanchburg, Maryland area. But I was back and forth to Northwest. So then I finally moved to Northwest because my grandparents lived in First Street Northwest. So I always tell people, I am truly from the DMV.
the literal meaning of
no
it.
doubt.
That's what
No
I'm
doubt.
talking
My
about.
father's family from Washington. My mother's family from Alexandria, Virginia. T.C. Williams.
What's the best part of growing up in the DMV?
Oh, it was right ties right in. That I got to experience the whole DMV. I mean, I could go to a go-go in D.C., of course, I'm going to see everybody. I go to a go-go in Virginia, I'm going to see everybody. PG. Throughout the area, I met a lot of people. And I've always been connected to a lot of people. That's why I always talk about Traci and myself had a village.
Yeah.
Because it just continued as I grew too.
Yeah, and that's because of that, because of those roots. You can't deny the roots of the DMV, I have to say.
Yeah.
So, tell me, what's the most DMV thing about you? Like, remember that I'm so DMV? What's so DMV about you?
Oh, I just said it in a nutshell that I have experienced every part of it.
Yeah.
And I love it, you know what I mean? Southeast, Northwest, Northeast, all of it. Not too much of Southwest, but I had a little kibbles and bits of it.
Yeah.
But definitely the whole, like I can say PG, I traveled throughout PG from Palmer Park to Landover to Glen Arden to Blanchburg. Oh man, all over Riverdale, all over the PG County areas.
Yeah, you can't deny traveling PG. I'm just saying. And people don't realize in PG County, we can walk across the street to DC and walk back across the street to Maryland in a heartbeat. And it happens all day.
It's like dude, I forgot this dude on social media. He does it so well. He plays two parts. He talks about it. Funny as all know. I can't think of his name. But he'd be like telling his cousin, man, your aunt is my mother's sister. And you always talking about you PG County or you Virginia, man, the dude is hilarious. But
if you hear the arguments, if they hear the arguments, they would think we were really crazy for real.
No doubt.
So, how do you give back to your community?
Oh man, I love this. I make sure that I go and pour back into the young people. I've done this, decades. Myself and Traci work with the youth, Department of Youth Services in the state of Maryland. We worked in residential treatment facilities throughout the state of Maryland. So we've done DC and Maryland, working with youth, empowering them. And what we do a lot of expressive art stuff.
Right. So
people don't realize the power in these youth is helping them to identify with their inner self as far as expression.
Yes.
So expressive arts was a big part of us, and I used to think it was goofy. And when I first started going to a detention center and try to teach them how to dance and African drumming and all that, but it was a powerhouse.
What changed your mind? What brought it out? What showed you the difference?
The first showcase we did, when we did a showcase and I saw these youth really do Shakespeare, on different levels, and I said to myself, unbelievable. These youth have the ability to go and just basically empower themselves and just uplift the narrative that we drove their way.
Right.
So,
Yeah, that's amazing. That's beautiful. So, tell me what inspired you to start your business. What inspired you to start your business?
a couple. My business partner, Dr. Lenny Smith and Dr. Carmen White, they came to me and they proposed something. Their proposal was, I had got his wife a job. The proposal was, if you give my wife a job, we can start this contract with DC, and we're going to go into a detention center, and we're going to empower you. Then that was the expressive art piece.
Right.
But let me rewind a little bit. I had already been working in the field of, behavior modification, residential treatment, things of that nature.
Right.
So because of my experience in my life, and me being incarcerated several times, in a little bit of time, I felt like I needed to go back and just lift up these individuals that really didn't have like father figures in their life,
Right.
and things of that nature. So I basically just poured myself into that field, and then when I saw the elevation of it, that really gave me power.
That's beautiful, definitely. I mean, that's very important for all of us to remember. You know, things don't just happen to us, but then they happen again and again. And if we don't help break the cycle, we are the cycle, you know?
Absolutely.
So what would you say is the biggest crisis currently facing the DMV community?
Oh man, the disempower of the, I hate to say this, but I gotta say it, the disempower of the black male, you know, and we are not empowering our young. We're not empowering our young black males as we should, and I really feel like that's so important right now, because in the community, that's the power. You know what I mean? Our black queens need us to be a staple so that we can raise these individuals that we're making.
Right.
You know what I mean? So I really feel like that's a big part that we really need to dive into and guide. I remember Marion Burge talk about it all the time. Back in the day,
Shout out to our original greatest mayor ever.
That's right. And I remember he used to just talk about the empowerment. He had the Youth Pride Incorporated company on 16th and U Street. I was young, and I used to look up to him like he was a god. And he used to talk about how this city is going to develop into a city that's not going to be any empowerment for the next generations.
Right.
So it stays on my heart.
It seems like we're all like too much embattled with each other. You know what I mean? But it's the men versus the women. It's the black versus the white. It's the, you know what I mean? As opposed to people pouring into the betterment of us all as a society, period. Like we can find a reason to fight about anything, and it baffles the mind how easy it is. And it shouldn't be such a frivolous situation, especially when we all do know how fragile life is and how temporary it really is. You only get one of them. So how are we really choosing to live it, you know?
No
I think that's really important. So, you are in Boss 2, the movie on Netflix. Is acting one of your healing outlets that you've been utilizing?
It is.
Okay, so can we hope to see you in more things?
Absolutely.
Okay, tell us a little bit about Boss movie in case anybody hasn't seen it.
Well, in the Boss movie, I basically was playing a boss in a crew, and you know, I went through some obstacles like that in my life, so it was kind of easy to dive into that character. And so when I got into the character, it was just about control the drug game, that street life, and just really basically saying that this ain't where it's at. And so when the director came to me, shout out to Mitch, Cradle, when he came to me, he was like, look, I think this is your character, I think it'll fit you well. And he said, man, just dive into it. And I did, and it fit me to a T. And I was like, I remember the first scene, I'm sitting up there holding Mossberg, and I'm in my basement talking about, this is what we gotta do, and dudes getting kidnapped, and like my crew, and all that type of stuff. And it was really a part of like what the experience was in the 80s. You know what I mean? So that's what I felt. And so I don't want to be typecast and think that's the only type of character I can play. So I'm working on that.
So, if you could play any character, what would be the dream character?
A father figure.
A father figure?
Yeah.
Well, that's not far from the truth now, is it? I don't think that's too far off the beaten path, is it?
A black father figure would
You have a
definitely
little
be.
familiarity there.
Absolutely. A little bit.
A little bit of experience.
Yeah.
Okay, so we're going to play another game, all right? So our next game is going to be... So first off, do you know the tune that was?
Not at all, but that it was rocking.
Okay, so that's $1 Million Baby. Now, we were just talking about it last week. I have to show you. It was actually covered. It's a go-go cover by a DMV rock band called Hugh. So look, this is a little quick little snippet.
I never love myself, baby. Can't do no wrong. I can clean up good for you. No right from wrong, 'cause I know to make it. So much, $1 million baby. I never love myself, baby. Can't do no wrong. I can clean up good for you. I know right from wrong, 'cause I'm gonna.
It's something about when you add that go-go beat to it, right?
And then the dude that did the song, he's right from down the street.
Oh, wait, you know him.
He's from Woodbridge, Virginia.
It's such a small area, right?
Yeah.
That's crazy. We know everywhere I go. Well, I just came from this weekend, one of the recaps from this past week. I went to Tampa because the DMV has taken over Tampa. We always taken over somewhere, especially in Florida.
Hey,
But
you ain't never lied. I went to the Super Bowl down there. We took over.
we took over Tampa this weekend though because you know the
Football game.
Commanders were playing yesterday.
Yeah.
So you know we got to be there to cheer regardless.
Absolutely.
Regardless. I mean, well. Some of us were cheering for the Redskins. I still cheer for the Redskins.
Absolutely.
I don't.
Mandatory.
Yeah, I like a little racism in my football. No, don't comment. Don't comment. I won't get you in anything. Okay.
Okay.
So name that song. Name that song.
Oh, that's
First,
amazing.
here we go. Where was the only place that Papa would lay his hat?
Oh, Papa was a Rolling Stone. That's my favorite group of all time. Papa was wherever he laid his head.
Where was it? Wherever he laid his hat was his
home.
All right, right answer.
Gotcha.
Ding, 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 ding.
Wow.
Okay, so if let's see, if my shirt goes up over my head, oh my, what happened? What's going on?
Oh,
Who's
God.
involved?
Oh man,
Who is that?
Is that Tweet?
Yes, very good. You are good. Okay, wait a minute. Okay, so let's see. If I'm having a rough day and I need to go to a room in the house. Now, it may not be in the house, in the physical house, but it's a room in the house and I need to talk to the Lord. What room might I need to go to?
Closet.
Nope.
No, I would.
It's
Upper room?
not in the upper room. In the upper room. Yes. Get it. Like you're my favorite guess that song guess so far.
Oh, wow.
Oh wait, and you did you're doing great at these. Okay.
Okay. I'm winging it.
So what song holds the most meaning for you and why?
Oh man, that's a heavy question. Tyree just did a right now. Wildflower is standing out to me
Okay.
by New Birth, but Tyree just did a remix of it, and it's so ironic that it's standing out to me today because I just told my mother that she was definitely Wildflower. The song we talk about, a flower going through the concrete.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? And I've seen other mothers experience that, process too. So that's what stands out to me today.
I love that. You want to know why I love that so much?
What?
Because that brings me to my Thankful Thursday thought of the day.
Uh-oh.
And my Thankful Thursday thought of the day, because this show is on Thursdays,
Okay.
is that no matter what you're dealing with, no matter how hard it is, even roses grow from concrete. So if you feel like you're covered in some shit right now, you might just very well just been fertilized. That's all that's happening. And you might just very well be right on the cusp of your breakthrough. So this isn't quite the time to give up.
Wow.
Right now is the time to be the best you literally that you can be. Because, well, there's only one you, right? I'm just saying.
That's what's up.
So that's our Thankful Thursday thought of the day. Now back to the questions though, because I didn't know you were even going to say that. But that's beautiful. So when and how did you meet Traci, and what first drew you to each other?
I met Traci in 1992. We were working together at a residential facility in Upper Marlboro, Maryland.
Mm-hmm.
And actually, I didn't like Traci when I first met her. I mean, I think it was
That's oftentimes the case.
Yeah, it was the narrative that was being driven around her. She, she was Tony Braxton's sister. She was this, and she was kind of living up to it, fancy and all that. And then she worked in the unit next to me, so she would get a lot of attention.
Right.
And I didn't like attention back then. I was just coming off the situation.
A
So
DC man.
I mean, yeah. But what made me like her was she was the total opposite of that. So that was just a projection that was being projected, I guess, because she was living up to whatever narrative she was in.
Right.
So when I got to know her
As a person.
it was the opposite.
I love that. I love that, definitely. So, did you have any idea when you did say, okay, she's cool, that you would end up meeting what would be your best friend for decades?
No.
At all, right?
No, I thought I was just going to,
Hang out. Yeah. Okay. All right. So, as a young couple in the DMV, which we have a lot, and we know the DMV, well, not just in the DMV, we know divorce rates are at an all-time high. I mean, well, people aren't even getting married anymore. They're just saying, forget it, because divorce is so high. So as a couple that did make it and not divorced through whatever life hit through at you, lifing, you know what I mean, all of just everything that can possibly happen to an individual, but happening to both of you all. What was the dream initially? What was the dream?
It's funny. That's a funny question. But the dream was just life itself. We were experiencing life on a whole nother level. Mind you, they were touring the United States at the time. The time we were dating, we were just living, having fun. What we did was we dated, but we also had, she could be in California, I'm here. You know what I mean? But I would, meet up with her in maybe Texas.
Right.
Or we would meet up in New York. We did that missing piece. We missing each other, kind of bridge the gap that we had. But it was just, to me, it was a new experience. You know what I'm saying? And so, just going through the whole, and it was a different time with no social media.
Right.
Myself, my phone was in my truck.
You couldn't even FaceTime back
There
then.
was no FaceTime.
Yeah.
The page went off. I looked at my page, the number was 42, I'm going to pull over. My phone not working in my truck or whatever, use the phone.
Yeah.
But it was just a different experience, but it also gave a bridging, a relationship that I had never experienced. So it was cool. So it gave a commitment that I think at that time in my life was like unique and different, which made me want to fight for it, challenge it, move through it. So I think that's what gave us what we had.
I think you definitely, both of you actually, deserve accolades on not only the, making it through that, because that's a lot, really. That's a lot of work. You know what I mean? And how old were you?
Oh, man, I think I was 26.
Yeah, like that's a lot of work and a lot of commitment for 26, But then to then grow older, and as society has become such a microwave situation, to then still sustain and work through whatever may come, and having a child and growing him into a lovely young man at that, you know what I mean? You definitely deserve props, both of you. So with the dream being, of course, living life and everything, what or who really awakened you all's dream? Who was you all's example, or did you have one that you ever sought out? And I don't mean that you knew personally.
Well, it's funny. At the beginning, mine were her parents. I was saying that they had raised these successful individuals. All of them going to college. All of them, aspiring to be in that arena, music. And it's funny, as time progressed, I hadn't seen that in the generation before me. I hadn't seen that.
Right.
So as time moved on, she talked about how my grandparents on my mother's side and my stepfather's side were an inspiration to her.
That's beautiful.
So you got the Jacksons and the Surratts that I didn't even key into like that. I just lived it. And she keyed into it, so she used to always talk about, we don't have a mom and pop experience.
Right. But that brings you to how things happen close to your face and you can't see them, you know what I mean? But it was happening for a reason. That happened in your life, probably for her to witness, just like that happened in her life for you to witness, whereas she witnessed it from a different angle. So her view might have been a little tainted or jaded, and your view might have been, it's them, but they're people, you know, they're honest, like day to day, and their bruises as well as their shining parts, you know? Yeah, I like that. So on a more dim note, on December 15th, we know, 2020, you know, while we were all in the midst of a global pandemic, we were all feeling like we were going through our own traumas. I'm going to wait for that noise because I can hear it. So, as I said, we were all in the midst of a global pandemic. We all were dealing with our own traumas and thinking life was already lifing on us. But in the midst of that, your family had an extra hit. Just as mine did. So, but can you share with us what happened on December 15th of 2020?
I mean, December 15th, we clearly found out that Traci had esophageal cancer. That day she was in the hospital. We had hints of it prior because she was going through some issues of swallowing.
Right.
And so we got back and the doctor sent us to the specialist, and from that we had to end up rushing her to the hospital because she was having some difficulty. So that's when everything, we were already going to Georgetown, but we went there and we found out that she had stage 4 esophageal cancer. And the funny part is this was the same day my father died in 1990. So I'm sitting there and I'm saying, wow. And the fight began.
What I want to know is, in that moment, right, when you're already on the anniversary of your father's passing, which is so rough anyway, not just the day of, but like the month for some reason, right? It's like before it even happens, you just feel it happening. Even if you don't mentally remember, you feel those things as it comes up, especially somebody so close to you and so pivotal in your life. So with that being the same day, and then this occurring, how did you keep yourself from saying, poor me, my best friend is dealing with this, and my dad on the same day that my dad? How did you keep from being selfish in that moment, and how did you make yourself extra focus on her intentionally?
I understood my position, and my position was to make sure she was good. And what I mean by that is her spirit was up. I'm thinking instantly, because I'm a crisis specialist.
Right.
That's my specialty. So when I get in crisis mode, I go up. So I rose up and I made it my point to make sure she was rising with me.
Yeah.
So I'm thinking about all the things I needed to do to get people to pour into her. That was my purpose, and I felt like I had to make sure that happened. So I put myself aside and I focused on what I needed to, and that was her. But she was the one dealing with it. Now, don't get me wrong, I had learned how to work through my father's anniversary.
Okay.
Because it had been years.
Right.
So I told her that, I got to get everybody together and let everybody know. She didn't want to do that.
Yeah.
She didn't want me to tell her family at that point.
So that means only you and her are dealing with it at that point too.
But I knew what I had to do, so I was that conversation was off the table with me and her. I wasn't going to ask her no more about that conversation.
Yeah.
So the conversation was going to be to, basically I called Tony, I text Tony.
Right.
And I told Tony we need to have a Zoom call, and I needed her to coordinate, get everybody together so we can talk about what's going on with Traci.
Right.
Because it's serious.
Right.
So it's funny, I was reading that text the other day, and she jumped right on it.
Awesome.
And before I know it, I had everybody in the Zoom call. I want to say the 17th. Traci was still in the hospital. So I had left to go do the Zoom call, and I let everybody was on it. Mom, pop, sisters, brother, everybody was on it. So, I felt like it was my obligation to let them know, because I know how tight it was. And then I knew that she was going to need them. This is the point I wasn't accepting, anything else.
Yes.
And I had the support that I needed at that point. And so that's when things started to, happen. Everybody was, willing to come in and go into it. Plus, remember, Christmas was coming. So Christmas was coming up too, so I needed her spirit to be up.
Right.
So one, I wanted to get, I had to let my son know.
Yeah.
I had to let everybody know what's going on, but I wanted everybody to come together and make sure they was pointing to her.
Right, because that's what it's about.
Totally.
Yeah.
So that made sense to me. And I actually never really had this conversation. It's really tripping me out that I'm having this conversation. I felt like, we had a fight. I knew my troops was going to come for me.
Right.
As soon as I let a couple people know that was like Team Surratt,
Yeah.
I wasn't worried about it. They're going to pour into me, as they did.
Yeah.
And,
For example.
My lodge,
Yeah.
my bike club, friends, my best friends, even before that Masonic world, everybody came.
Yeah.
And hit me and made sure I was good. Until today,
Yeah.
I have that support.
Because both of you were staples as well, or are staples rather, in the DMV area. You're definitely, renowned and appreciated.
Right.
So we got your back, but you have whole families, and I'm glad that you said that. I'm glad you mentioned that as well, and how you all did get on the Zoom call and how you did connect. Because I think the misconception is that because your situation is so magnified that you aren't the regular family that everybody else is. The fact of the matter is, all families, and correct me if I'm wrong, all families first off, you don't get to choose them, okay? And when you choose the person you're going to be with, you don't get to choose the in-laws just because you choose that person.
That's right.
And just because you were chosen as that person doesn't mean the in-laws got to choose you either, or anything like that.
Right.
So there's always going to be miscommunications with people, whether you're related or not. There's always going to be, misunderstandings, all types of things, feelings, emotions. And then, unfortunately, weddings and funerals or, deaths always seem to bring out the most of our emotions and the most discontent or discord between people. So I think it's very important that you said in that you still were aware of your position, your requirement as a man, as a husband, as a father, and as another family member, That says a lot, definitely. So tell me how in that moment, and then as things progress, how did you keep yourself personally from playing possum or just like giving up, because in the moments, no matter how many people came, there were moments when you were alone. And that in those moments, we all know that's when those thoughts creep in, those feelings creep in, and that sadness comes about. So how did you keep yourself from doing that?
You're not going to believe this. I'm going to say this loud and clear.
Yeah.
One of my best tools during that time was to watch my Washington football team.
Really?
I had recorded all the games they won.
Uh-huh.
And when I would get down in any type of, spiraling,
Right.
I would go in my room and I would make sure she was good, but she was sleeping in the living room in her bed, and make sure everybody was there for her. And if I felt myself getting overwhelmed, I would go in my room and watch a football game.
That says a lot. That you have to have. It's so funny you say that, because you have to have your outlet, and it's so crazy. Like, what will pull you? It could be anything. And if you're dealing with it, try whatever you can come up with until you find what works for you. Because I tried everything. I went to Hawaii to a meditation retreat. I became a certified meditation instructor. I, started this show. I got on Fox 5. I wrote a book. You know what I mean? Like, anything and everything. I started doing speaking engagements, because you have to use something to fuel your fire.
Absolutely.
So what is your source for your strength? would you say?
Oh, definitely the God of my understanding, my Lord and Savior, Jesus Christ. I mean, I
Yes.
say Psalms 23 9 times every day
Yeah.
since I was 16.
Mm-hmm.
And so, with me saying
And
Psalms
Psalm 23 is?
The Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want. He makes me lie down in green pasture. He leads me beside quiet waters. He restores my soul. He guides me in the path of righteousness for his name's sake. Yes, even though I walk through the valley shadow of death, I'll fear no evil, for thou art with me. Thy rod and thy staff will comfort me. Thou hast anointed my head, Lord, my cup overflows. Surely goodness and loving kindness will follow me all the days of my life, and I will dwell in the house of the Lord forever. Amen.
Amen.
9 times every day.
Yes.
I can help it. I try my best. So that was definitely a rock that I've always had.
Mm-hmm.
And then the people.
Mm-hmm.
I have people that's like incredible in my life that gives me the drive, the strength, the will, you know what I mean, to work through these situations. And that's what I'm teaching my son right now, to make sure you have the right people around you to give you that force, that drive.
Right,
You know what I mean? So it's important. So that's been my will.
I love that. That's very important. You can't go anywhere without the foundation of God. I'm just going to be honest with you.
Absolutely.
But you do have free will, so, you know, you make your choice as you feel. Now, how did you choose to memorialize Traci?